How do you know if you're practicing correctly? How do you know if your practice time isn't just a waste of time? Now, last week I talked about what's called deliberate practice, right? And this is the method that researchers have found is the best method to practice. And we also found out that talented people are really just people who use the method of deliberate practice. Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how you can apply the methods of deliberate practice. I'm going to show you with my instrument and with some real sheet music so you can see how you can apply these methods to your practice session. So let's get to it. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail today about like the different studies, the people that have been researched, and the reason why we have prodigies and all these kinds of examples and case studies and stuff like that. If you want to see those kinds of details, just look at the videos that I've done before on this subject. So today, we're just going to talk about the tenets of deliberate practice, and I'm going to try to show you how you can actually apply them to real sheet music. So just to do a big summarization of some of the previous videos, researchers have found that talent is not some kind of ability that you're born with to be able to more easily learn a skill or to be able to more easily be able to grasp a concept or something like that. What they found is that talent actually is a person's innate ability to practice properly, to practice with a certain method, and they call that deliberate practice. So let's talk about what deliberate practice is specifically. Okay, so there's 5 characteristics of deliberate practice. So the first one would be engaging in a particular activity with the intent to get better at a particular skill or improve your performance. So number 2 is the activity challenges you mentally. So it doesn't challenge you just a little bit too little, doesn't challenge you too much, it challenges you just right. Number 3, the activity can be repeated a lot. Number 4 is that feedback is necessary, right? That's where having a teacher or at least recording yourself becomes really important. And number 5 is that it's usually not fun. So engaging in deliberate practice is usually not enjoyable at all. So you have to think long-term and ignore the short-term pain. Okay, so let's just talk about a couple real-world examples where you can apply the principles of deliberate practice to what you're actually doing. Okay, so when people practice, what they should be doing at the very least, what I highly recommend, is 3 different things, right? A scale, an etude or an exercise of some kind, and your piece at a minimum. So I realize a lot of people, when they're just learning violin, especially by themselves, they might just, try to learn a song or something like that. But if you are on a mission to be the best violinist that you can be, I highly recommend that you break apart your practice sessions into at least 3 different parts. And that would be scales, exercises or etudes, and a piece of your choice. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about scales, right? Scales are awesome because they warm up your body, they warm up your mind, they train your fingers where to go on your instrument, and it helps you with your pitch in everything that you do. Okay, so let's look at the example of a scale, okay? So let's say you're practicing your 3-octave scales. Let's say 3-octave scales are something that's somewhat new to you, and perhaps one of the most difficult aspects of a 3-octave scale is the fact that you have a bunch of shifts, right? So you've got to get those shifts in tune. So let me show you a classic situation and a classic mistake that a lot of people make when they're practicing something like a scale. Oh, that's out of tune. There's in tune. Okay, that was okay. Okay, so let's try it again. Oh, it was a little bit better, but it was still a little out. Okay, so let's try it again. So, ooh, I got it. Okay. Oh, it was a little bit flat that time. Okay, good. Oh, okay, I got it. All right, so I just practiced it. It wasn't good at first. I got it out of tune a bunch of times, but I fixed it. Now I can move on or to something else, or I can speed the tempo up. Wrong, right? Okay, so what I did incorrectly in that particular situation was a couple things. Number 1, what was the problem in the scale? The problem was the shift. That was the problem. So if that's the problem in the scale, why did I use all my time to do this? I didn't have any problem with those notes. So why would I play those notes every time when I'm trying to fix the shift. That's the first mistake, because it's a waste of time. The second thing is that when I practiced the shift, I played it wrong more than I played it correctly. In other words, I practiced it until I got it right. So there's an old saying in practicing: don't practice something until you get it right. Practice it until you can't get it wrong, okay? And that's the mistake that I just made. So 70 or 80% of my attempts were wrong. Only a couple of my attempts were pretty good. So what have I taught my brain? Well, I taught my brain to most of the time play it wrong and maybe occasionally accidentally play it correct. So the way to remedy that situation is, first of all, don't play these notes, right? Isolate exactly what the problem is. The problem is the shift, that shift. Furthermore, let's isolate exactly why the shift wasn't working. So let's say I isolate the shift and I'm practicing the shift and I get this. Oh, it's flat. Oh, it's off. Okay, now it's in tune. Well, why? Why did I finally get it in tune? Well, in this particular situation, it's because I wasn't releasing my hand enough when I shifted. Now, it could be a myriad of other issues, right? There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you shift. But in this particular situation, let's say, for sake of argument, that I wasn't releasing the pressure of my fingers enough when I shifted and then reapplying the pressure. So once I identify exactly mechanically the error that I was making, now I can adjust that mechanical motion and practice just the shift. So let's try it. Okay. Okay, that works. So now that you figured out exactly mechanically why you were playing that shift out of tune, now you want to repeat that shift at least 10 times in a row correctly without making an error. All right, so on and so forth, right? Once you play that 10 times in a row correctly, you've probably trained your mind to know what it needs to do. So now that you've done that, now you can play the notes around the shift, right? There it is. Okay, so that's the correct way to do it. You want to make sure that you don't play a bunch of ancillary stuff around the thing that you're trying to fix. You want to isolate exactly what you need to fix, figure out exactly what you can do to improve that movement, and then repeat it several times. Is it fun? No. Is it mentally challenging? Yes, right? You have to put a lot of thought into it. Did I repeat it? Yes, you repeat it many times. And it would be also very helpful if you could get some feedback. So if you don't have a teacher, record yourself, audio record yourself, video record yourself, right? That technology is easy these days. So in this situation, we're using the tenets of deliberate practice to be extremely efficient and to be very productive at the same time. Okay, so for an example of how to practice a piece, I've picked a piece, it's a jig, and I picked it because jigs are, they're known for having a bunch of, technical problems that can arise because there's a million different ways that you can do your articulation, your slurring, all kinds of stuff in a jig. So this is what it sounds like. Okay. But let's say I've never played it before and I don't really know. I know what I want it to sound like. I've heard some recordings and I play the beginning and it sounds like this. That didn't sound right. Oh, okay. So apparently it's these two notes right here. They're slurred and they have a staccato above them, okay? So now I have a choice. Do I just play that whole line over and over again until it sounds right? Or do I figure out exactly what I want it to sound like and focus on just those two notes and then play the notes in front of them and behind them? Of course, we know that's what we should do. Okay, so I'm going to play the, right? That's the problem area. So I could do at the tip, or I can do, or, oh, I like that one. Okay, not quite as clear as I want it to be. Okay, that was pretty good. So what I found out is that I want to play it, I will figure at the lower part of the bow. I want to tilt my bow slightly so I'm not using flat hair. I want to play it in between the bridge and the fingerboard. But most importantly, I want to pick up my bow slightly in between the two notes. Lift. So I'm lifting before the notes and I'm lifting in the middle of those notes. Lift. Lift. Okay? So now that I figured out exactly mechanically what I need to do to have it sound correctly, now I'm going to practice it. I'm going to play it 10 times in a row to teach my mind the way that I want it to perform those notes. And so on and so forth. Okay, so after you've played it 10 times in a row correctly, now it's safe to put the notes in front of it and the notes behind it. Lift. Lift. Okay, so now I can practice that whole line and incorporate what I just practiced, and I play that 10 times in a row till it is, substantially better. Then I move on to the next thing. So once you identify all those technical challenges, exactly what's going wrong, exactly how to fix them, then you play the entire thing over and over again. And once you do that, you've used the principles of deliberate practice. Okay, so those are just a couple real-world examples of us using the 5 characteristics of deliberate practice to make our practice sessions much more efficient and much more productive. So I hope I've answered a few questions in this video. If you have some more, please put them down below. Your questions are fuel for my videos. It gives me some more ideas for some more videos that I can do. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that alert bell because, you'll get notification when I create a new video, and I'm always making new videos. So I hope you guys are having a good week, and, don't forget, happy practicing.